Data Center Transformation event, and I'm here with Emma Fryer from CyrusOne. And it'd just be good to understand what you think are the challenges and opportunities for the data center industry in 2025.
Oh, great question. I think challenges are the same: power, public perception, policy. So lots of policies that aren't fit for purpose, lots of people that don't understand what we do, and power isn't where we need it. Plenty of it, but not where we need it. So in a nutshell, that. In terms of opportunities, I actually think that although things were changing, the new government has actually taken some very pro-data centre, very pro-development steps. They're actually aiming at the pain points we've had with things like planning. So they are in the process of revising the National Planning Policy Framework to make it a little bit easier to develop in areas really that they call grey belt, where the green belt is essentially so badly degraded that it serves no function, and that may be a useful pragmatic direction to go, provided they put in adequate safeguards for existing green belt. Very, very important that. So I think they're addressing various issues in planning. They're certainly looking at power. They're trying to do significant electricity market reform, which will make a big difference in terms of queuing. And I think, as well, as we've now been designated CNI, which is, quite a discussion point in the industry. And I think that is obviously going to have pros and cons. I think from a development point of view, at least nobody can really deny that data centres are strategic or that we need them now. And those, that has happened in the past. So I think that gives us a little bit more of a fundamental right to exist because we underpin the economy and therefore, we're needed. On the other hand, that will come with greater scrutiny. So I'd say that's a classic double-edged sword. And that's been in process for about 4 years. So although it was announced in October by the new government, it has been running for a long time. So I think things have been moving slowly, and suddenly a few other things have been moving quickly, which I think does open a few doors for us.
Okay, and I must ask you, AI, obviously everyone's aware of that. Just your thoughts you have as to the impact. Is the industry ready for it? Does it understand the full implications of where it might go, or do you think it's a bit, not a worry, but you think they might be underprepared as to just how much AI is coming their way?
I don't think the industry's underprepared. I think that's why everyone's running around with their hair on fire, about it in the industry. But I do think that governments are perhaps slightly underprepared, and I think our government is actually doing quite a good job. They've set up the AI safety initiative, and they're trying to make sure that there is a degree of that. I don't think they want to take quite as heavily regulated approach as the European Union, nor do they want to be unregulated like some of the other states. But I think it's very important for us to try and remain in the tent, and I think the government's quite keen on us being in the tent in some way. It's hard to see at the moment how we'd be an attractive destination of choice for large AI workloads given energy prices, but they may be working on that. I know there is some ambition within government to make sure the UK is a centre of excellence for that, but how that, you can't be a centre of excellence for AI unless you're going to put in policies to create the land to make it, the host of facilities, to make the power available, the planning and the people to run it. But actually it's the first time I've seen these policies properly joined up. So, I think we can live in hope, but it's such a fast moving landscape.
And maybe just finally, my favourite question at the moment, sustainable or digital, or sustainable and digital? Do you think the two are fundamentally incompatible at some stage in the future, or can we carry on developing a digital world and be sustainable in the future as well?
We cannot meet our net zero targets without the intelligent use of technology, but the intelligent use of technology I think is the key. So I think there are some issues with some of the business models that are around in the sector which tend to encourage profligacy. So you have freemium and advertorial business models. That does encourage profligacy because you don't pay at the point of use. However, the plus side of that is it allows you to develop innovation at really high speed. It's incredibly easy to innovate when your test audience isn't paying for it. So I think you've got those things to balance, but I do think, without technology we can't achieve it, but it's about deploying technology intelligently. Making data centres prosumers in the energy market, that is possible. We're not there yet, but it is possible. That's a huge step forward. And then digitalisation, all those things that can be done. The issue of that is then if you digitise something and people do 100 times more of it than they did before when it was analogue, are you saving any energy? Sometimes you aren't. So it's about that proliferation, that sort of front edge of proliferation that I think can be problematic.
And I suppose just to follow up, and you're optimistic, bearing in mind this sort of government and what the previous government had started, do you think our government sort of understands that direction of travel and will encourage that?
So in terms of yes, politically, I think the new government is more overtly pro-development, but that doesn't mean that the civil servants don't understand it. So I think the previous government put in place an actual specific part of, it was DCMS, now DCT, that looked after data centres, the data centre team, and they've been building up their knowledge. So what I would say is the level of knowledge among policymakers, who are the people, after all, who advise the politicians and develop the policy, that has massively improved, just orders of magnitude, much better relationship. We have data centres have a home in government now, so I say that's the dialogue we have to keep open. We have to ensure that dialogue is worked across government, and I think our team in DCT is trying hard to make sure that happens, so essentially aligning cross-government policy where it touches data centres. And that's a fantastic step forward. It may not be very visible, but trust me, it's happening.
Okay, it's been great to chat to you, Emma. Thanks for your time.
Good to talk to you.